Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Louie, and this is Burrow Productions. Now let's get right into this news I have for you today. But before we do, let's check the markets really quick. You guys can pause it if you care about the prices. All right, let's move on. So the first article I have for you guys today is Ripple adds Coinbase crypto futures to its 3 trillion clearinghouse platform. So Ripple Prime institutional clients can now trade Coinbase, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP futures in regulated U.S. markets. We're going to cover that right now. Next article I have for you guys today is New York Stock Exchange owner values crypto exchange OKX at 25 billion in new partnership. And this was done by ICE. I find it a little, ironic, but we'll get into that in a bit. All right. Next up, I have for you guys is Trump-backed American Bitcoin board members scoop up stocks following earnings. So basically, it says 2 board members here, but I looked into it deeper. It's actually 4 board members, but we'll cover that in a second. So as of yesterday, Bitcoin rallies to 73,000, driven by ETFs, inflows, and derivative activities. So when it talks about derivatives, basically a lot of people just got not priced out, but their shorts ended up getting hit. But anyways, and some other greater news: Cardano can now be used to pay at 137 Spar stores across Switzerland. So I guess this is kind of like their Walmart or Target. I'm not 100% sure, but this looks like forward progress for 88. All right, and the last one I have for you guys today is Iran's regimen crypto activity topped 3 billion in illicit transactions surge in 2025 report. Okay, all that next coming up right now. So to start it off, we're going to start with Ripple adds Coinbase crypto futures to its 3 trillion clearing platform. Basically, the main takeaways here is now Ripple Prime customers are now offered Coinbase crypto futures cleared by Nodal Clear. So this is regulated. Okay, we have to understand that this is a major move. Like I think this war has been fought from tribalistic mindset from ever since when crypto was invented, because you have the stock market, you have crypto, but initially in my head they're the same. One ran on T5, T3, and T2, T1. Crypto runs on T0. Okay, so all this is moving on to T0, including the stock market. Okay, but this basically it's an expansion reflects growing institutional demand for regulated crypto derivatives. So that's the main thing here, regulated. And Ripple Prime is part of this. Okay, a lot of people don't like Ripple. Okay, the company, not XRP, but they really are like I don't know. They're the ones who had the biggest lawsuit. They're the ones who've been through so much BS. They've been around since the patent's 1989. 88. Sorry, but it's just crazy that people don't see the writing on the wall, right? Okay. If you guys want more on this article, you can click down below. It'll be down there. Okay, moving on. So New York Stock Exchange owner values crypto exchange OKX at 25 billion in new partnership. So basically, like I said earlier, I find it ironic that we had a lot of ICE stuff going on here in America. But then this company, if you guys don't know what ICE is, I'm not talking about immigration services. I'm talking about intercontinental exchange. Okay. All right. That's what I'm talking about when I say ICE here. All right. So moving on. But basically, they valued OKX at 25 billion, and the owner of the new New York Stock Exchange will license OKX spots crypto prices for crypto futures products, while OKX will offer ICE futures and tokenized equities to the customers in US. So again, if you guys don't know what OKX is, it's actually a crypto platform. Here it is here. You can go look at it for yourself. If you want to know more about crypto and understand what they're doing, you can. You can go down here. Yes, it says it's okay. Let me expand that again. Is OKX licensed and regulated in the U.S.? Yes, since 2018. So, these things have been happening behind closed doors. This is 2026. They've been regulated since 2018. But there's so much middle work that has to be done that, this wasn't able to happen right away. You know what I mean? Because they've been regulated for a long time. But basically, the ICE, the owner of New York Stock Exchange, also made a strategic investment value in San Jose, California-based company 25 billion, according to the press release. So again, it'll be down in the description below if you want to read more on it. You can. All right, moving on. So Trump-backed American Bitcoin board members scoop up stocks following earnings. So board members Justin and Richard bought roughly 1.6 million shares after trading window reopened following the Bitcoin miners' latest earning reports. So, you guys know I always say there's stuff here. Follow the crumbs until you get to the loaf. That's basically what you do here. Now, I'm not saying go invest, not financial advice. This is just something where it's like, why are they doing it? Are they already ahead of the curve? Because it's like, you know, and to be honest, that's why I'm gonna love blockchain technology, because you can follow transactions. Like, oh, what are you doing over there? I'm gonna do it too. What are you doing over there? I'm gonna do that too. See, it was different before. There's a paper trail, yeah, but you have to find that paper trail. There was certain brokers who knew what they were doing, but you have to be on the inside scoop. Now, once we get into this new system, everything is transparent. There's going to be private ledgers and stuff. I understand that. But for the most part, unless you have a real reason to be on a private ledger, it's going to be public and everybody can see what's happening. Level playing field, right? Anyways, the Bitcoin miner reported that 59 million fourth quarter losses, while Eric Trump said the firm now holds over 6,500 BTC, ranking it the 17th largest public traded Bitcoin holder. Okay. So just pay attention to what's happening. You don't have to like Trump or his family or any of them. Eric, you don't have to like any of them. But if they're gonna help you line your pockets, not financial advice, then just follow what they do. Don't hate the player, hate the way you're playing the game. And that's all I'm gonna say with that. Moving on. Bitcoin rallies to 73,000, driven by ETF inflows. So basically, this is just breaking down that if you guys trade options or shorts and longs, you understand once it hits a certain mark, then certain things get not placed, but basically, if you say Bitcoin is going up and your liquidation is at 65, these market makers are going to push that price to 65. Why? Because then that volume is going to bring the price back up. So remember, it's very important to understand that the price doesn't mean nothing. It's about the volume. How much is it being used? But basically, Bitcoin's showing strength, recovering to 73,000 to face the market uncertainty from geopolitical tension spurred by two major catalysts. The key points here are: after sliding to 60,000 range in late February, Bitcoin has rebounded sharply in March, riling past 73,000 in days. So basically, let me see. There was something here about the outflows, but basically, oh yeah, on March 4th, 461 million flowed into ETFs, driven by renewed interest in BlackRock iShares, Bitcoin Trust IBIT. So basically, people who are not in crypto are getting into crypto without really knowing about it. It's kind of how like Visa and MasterCard work. Nobody knows the technology behind them, but they use it every day. This is exactly how crypto and the blockchain technology is going to work. It's going to be the foundation of the house you live in. Do you ever go down to check your foundation of your house? Most likely people don't, unless they really care about their house and things like that. But most of the time, people just live in their house in the top floors without going down to the foundation to see how it actually works. And that's exactly what's going to happen here with crypto and blockchain and customers going into the ETFs. Remember, not your crypto, not your wallet, not your keys, not your crypto. Okay. If you're freaking in these ETFs, well, you have to wait for a middleman. Understand what you're investing in. Okay. Next one. Next article. Here we go. All right. So Cardano is now being able to be used at 137 SPAR stores. I think this is great for the whole economy, for the whole ecosystem of crypto. And you have to understand, like, don't be tribalistic when it comes to a certain coin or crypto. There's going to be a lot of winners. There's going to be a lot of losers. There's going to be more losers than there are winners, though. Okay. So I think Cardano's a good safe bet, especially if they're getting regulated and also being able to be used as an ADA payment for 137 Switch stores. I really don't know nothing about this stars, but that seems like a lot of locations to have in Switzerland. You know what I mean? Spread out. So the article will be down below if you guys want to read more about it. All right. Moving on to the last thing I have for y'all today. So basically, Iran's regimen crypto activity top 3 billion regime. But basically, Iran, it was about 3 billion in elect transactions last year. This is Iran alone, okay? Iran alone. But Russia, North Korea, and other sanctioned countries have boosted their crypto use in the last year, according to Chain Analysis. I think that's how you say that. But basically, a lot of people want to point this at a war. Okay, this is about control. You either do what we say, or we're gonna bomb your ass. That's my opinion. Okay, there's no coincidence that these sanctions happened. Iran was like, "F you, we're just gonna move on to the blockchain, and we don't care about your sanctions. We'll still be able to do whatever we want on blockchain." And that's where we're at right now in this ecosystem. You have to understand it's very, very some of these countries are moving strategic. They understand that they don't need the West to regulate everything like they have been. We can make our own cryptocurrency and still be interoperable in the country, but America and these big players are not going to allow that to happen, as you can see here. Okay, we think it's about war. What are we fighting over? Oil? Nah, we're fighting over the fact that some of these places do not. Just like what happened with Venezuela. I'm not going to get into that right now, but understand there's a bigger agenda at hand. But basically, they were using Tether on the Tron network. Let me find this for you guys really quick. But basically, there's also that stuff with Tron too, where it's like, wait, Tron, you're allowing them to do this. I mean, not Tron, but Tether, you're allowing them to do this. So Tether is just as at fault, and we already know what's going on with Tether. Tether's like, we don't want to be sanctioned. We don't want to be audited. We don't need no one telling us what to do. But yeah, they were using Tether on the Tron network. So that's the thing about this, is that everyone's going to have to really be on the same level playing field if it's going to work. If you have one bad actor doing whatever they want while everyone else is not, then this is going to be a huge problem for crypto. So they're trying to get everybody, I believe, on the same page. And if you're not on the same page, then they're going to make sure you do get there. Either take you out, put someone else in charge, and go from there. But again, my name is Louis. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Give it a like, subscribe, and send it to your people if you think they'll care about this. Until next time, y'all. Peace.